Hello everyone, welcome back to the Movie Studio. Today I'm here to review When Calls the Heart Season 12, Episode 3. It is called All That Glitters. Overall, this was definitely a fun episode. I would say it was probably my favorite of the season so far. It was just very humorous, but it also advanced some of the plots really good, and I especially really like the Elizabeth, Nathan, and Oliver storyline. The most I have so far, because last episode I feel like was a very slow episode, and like I just wasn't really sure about it. It wasn't my favorite, but this week I think was pretty good overall. So let's just kind of start off with that plot line. So basically Oliver turns in his written report and his handwriting is terrible, so Elizabeth offers to help him, and he says that he went to this school called Briarcliff, but Elizabeth contacts one of her teacher friends. We find out that Briarcliff closed, which means Oliver lied. And Oliver admits that he didn't go to school and that he lied on his Mounties application. So there's just this whole thing with Nathan deciding, do I tell Hargraves or not? And Elizabeth says it's our responsibility to help him. And we get like a little Elizabeth and Nathan argument. The first one we've seen so far. I mean, they've definitely disagreed before, but as a couple, their first disagreement. I like this plot line though, because I totally understand why Nathan feels like he, the right thing to do technically for his job is to tell Hargraves and have him deal with the Oliver thing. But he also sees the work Oliver puts in. It would be different if he was like a bad kid and didn't do his job, but he does do his job. So you do have to take that into consideration. And I think Nathan's really appreciative of having Elizabeth in his life, because if this was like 2 or 3 seasons ago, I don't think he would have made that decision, because I guess he still would have had Bill in his corner, but Elizabeth is the one who really pushed him to give Oliver a second chance. So I really like that storyline, and Oliver deciding to resign, but then Elizabeth offering to help him, and Nathan saying he won't go to Hargraves. And then Hargraves comes, and I still find it kind of funny that he came all the way to Hope Valley just for the report. And Nathan gives a positive report on him. He says the writing portion has been completed, and Oliver says, I hope one day to earn Nathan's respect. It was a great scene. And then at the end, Nathan saying our cadet passed inspection, like him and Elizabeth's cadet. It was like a really great storyline. And I love these two working together. It's just something Elizabeth and Lucas just wouldn't have done. I do feel like it's just one of the many reasons Elizabeth and Nathan just match way better for these specific type of storylines. So I thought it was really well done, this whole thing. We also have this plot line with Rosemary thinks Lee is hiding something from her. So Lee, this whole episode, is kind of acting a bit odd. You can tell he's up to something. Rosemary is overreacting. Bill tells Rosemary that Lee has like a new will. Faith tells her he had a doctor appointment, not like intentionally trying to stir her up, but they just thought she knew. So Rosemary's freaking out. We see Lee and Mike heading off to the woods. So Rosemary and Elizabeth decide to follow them while wearing beekeeper hats, I guess. Kind of confusing why exactly, because they were walking through the bushes and they stepped on a branch, which then they thought it was a bear. I thought that whole thing was funny, but also just stupid too. We find out that Lee is making a Goldie trail. I thought that was sweet. So it kind of ties right into the Lucas and Lee plotline. Lucas comes back to Hope Valley to avoid the press because they're all getting on him for the Jeanette thing. He goes to Hope Valley. We find out that Edie, the girl who kind of ruined his national park plans, we find out that her uncle owns a ranch in Hope Valley. So that she's also going there too, or I guess near Hope Valley, because not in Hope Valley, I guess. I don't know. But he comes back, and things are still really awkward between Lucas and Lee. In fact, Lee put hazelnuts in Lucas's office as like a joke, kind of, and a way to mess with him. So then Lucas has to set up office in the cafe. Now, to me, Lee said about the Goldie Trail is that he didn't feel like Lucas was trying hard enough, and he had hoped that by creating the Goldie Trail, Lucas would realize how important this whole thing is. But to me, I found it kind of odd because I feel like Lucas was trying to negotiate and figure out another plan, but I also feel like the whole thing was out of his hands and he had no idea about any of this until Edie came in to tell him. So, and I guess, Lake kind of has a point where Lucas shouldn't be involving Edwin after everything that's happened. So I understand that. But I just feel like Lucas, I feel like is trying his best, and I think Lee is overreacting slightly. But I could also understand maybe it's because he's thinking about his dad a lot, who died when he was his age, and he wants to leave behind a legacy. So maybe he thinks that the national park was leaving behind a legacy for Goldie by working on that with Lucas, and now he feels like he has to do the Goldie Trail because Lucas isn't keeping his promises, which he does have a habit of doing. But I do think he's being a bit quick to judge Lucas. But apparently Edie wants to open up her own law firm, so it sounds like maybe Lucas will be helping her with that. I do think there's a bit of chemistry here with these two, so I'm looking forward to what that entails for down the road. But I would say those were like the two main plot lines from the episode, but there's also a few subplots. First of all, we have the return of Earl Wyatt, who was Ray Wyatt's nephew, who was the railroad owner, and he's back in town and got a job at the saloon, and it seems like him and Allie are kind of crushing on each other. So I don't know what's going to happen there. Are we going to get a love triangle between Allie, Oliver, and Wyatt? That would be kind of funny, not going to lie. Just after every love triangle we've had, for that to be the love triangle would be kind of hilarious. We'll see. It was cute when Mike and May danced the Charleston. I almost seemed like, were they setting up a romance between Molly and Jed? I mean, possibly. They're not really giving Molly a whole lot to do, so I don't really know what's going on there. We do have this coin that was found at the beginning of the episode, and it's a rare coin. It's a double-headed eagle that Rosemary finds out someone used at the saloon. We don't know who used it, but my guess it was Earl. To me, that makes the most sense. It's his coin. And apparently it was one of the coins in the train robbery of 1907 is what Bill says, because he borrows a case file from Nathan earlier on, and it's for that. So him and Rosemary are going to team up for this train robbery investigation. So I'm down for that. I think that could be a lot of fun. I think these are the type of mysteries I like. Not everything has to just be like a complete scandal. It could just be a simple investigation like that. That kind of how Lucas's shooting started out, but then it turned very scandalous. So I hope this is a bit more toned down. But overall, it was a good episode. I liked Elizabeth and Nathan's date at the end when they're on horseback. Really beautiful shots. So I'm looking forward to next week for Allie's birthday party and seeing the town's reactions about that. That's going to be a lot of fun. So comment down below, what did you think of episode 3? And I'll see you guys next week. Bye, everyone.